I want to turn the discussion real quickly to this year we have a new administration taking place in just a few days. And so just like in an election year tends to impact the sector, and a new administration might do the same. And so I was looking to get maybe your feedback, and Bambi, perhaps we can start with you on, how might the new administration affect the regulatory landscape for cell and gene therapy, if at all? Just wondering what your thoughts are.
So I think in general, there have been some concerns about some developments in specifically unproven cell products and access to those products. And there is some concern, I think, that there might not be that there might be a changing landscape or opinion about how hard to pursue providers of unproven stem cell products. Equally important, however, is that there are challenges to the FDA ongoing right now that actually already started that are concerning. And some of the states involved in that are California, Utah, Nevada, Missouri, and of course my state of Texas. So there's definitely signs that there's some challenges to the FDA. And I think that when we look at the incoming administration, one of the things we have to think about is how strongly they'll respond to those challenges. And I think that that's something that many of us are concerned about, and it's a topic of significant importance in ISCT, is this issue of the use of unproven stem cell products and the risk to not only, I don't want to call them patients, because sometimes the people who receive these products don't consider themselves patients. They're just, members of the public who receive stem cells maybe for their tennis elbow or different things like that. It doesn't make them a patient, but they could become a victim of an inappropriate stem cell product. So that's where I see the biggest risk, because the regulations are unlikely to change in 4 years. That's probably not what we're going to see. Sure. I think that it's more of what will the administration really hone in on as far as compliance.
Excellent points. Great. Excellent. Thank you. And Kim, before, like I said, wanted to get your thoughts on that too. What are the impact might the new administration have on the space?
Okay. Well, I can draw from my past experience at FDA. Obviously, I went through multiple administration changes when I was there in 20 plus years. So they always bring in a period of uncertainty with changes in leadership at the department and HHS level. So what will the priorities of the new leadership be? Behind the scenes, FDA has activities they need to do. They often are called in to do briefings about certain technologies or certain areas for new leaders. Sometimes, I'm sure stakeholders may have noticed a flurry of guidances came out at the end of the year and the beginning of this year. Part of that is that people are finishing up their work that would have been their year-end goal. But another part of it is because just logistically, with new people setting into their jobs and deciding who's going to do, what, and what level of scrutiny they're going to have on guidances. So sometimes there's a slowing of publication of guidances as new administrations change. Broader, I'm certain, we've all heard various things about federal employees and federal agencies, in the press. I'm sure FDA staff are anxious about potential impacts to their jobs or their daily, whatever. But they continue business as usual until there actually is a change. So I'm sure their heads are down and trying to do their work and not get distracted by various things they've heard. During this administration, there'll be a round of PDUFA negotiation, Prescription Drug User Fee Act. So obviously that and other things, if there is talk about FDA reform, stakeholders will have an opportunity, stakeholder groups will have an opportunity to give their input about changes they do or don't want to see at the FDA, or ways they want things strengthened, as Bambi mentioned. Again, I'd say one area that I call attention to that I've heard at different times, that some people object across federal agencies, not just the FDA, that some political views are that agencies shouldn't use guidance documents to communicate policy and legal interpretation of regulations. They think FDA, that agency should only stick to what's in regulation. That seems to be contrary to what the cell and gene therapy stakeholders want. They want more guidance from FDA. They want FDA explaining and helping them figure out how to take their products into the clinic and then to market. So, if guidance documents are something that you want to continue to see that to come out of FDA, or particularly out of CBER for cell and gene therapy, I'd encourage stakeholders, if they have an opportunity to make that opinion known, to do so.